Hi, welcome to Moyna Bass Fishes. I am Jim Moyna. So today was day one at the 2023 MLF Tacklewarehouse Invitational on Lake Okeechobee. I weighed 18 pounds, 15 ounces, which put me in 20th place out of 150 boats. If you've been watching any of my practice videos, you would know that I had a really hard time in practice, and this was a complete this was awesome. Um, totally awesome. Because let me just put it this way: I caught more keepers today than I did all 3 days of practice. Um, my smallest keeper today was probably as big or bigger than the biggest keeper I caught in practice. So it was way, went way over expectations today. And why is that? Um, it's because the females moved into the spawning grounds pretty hard today. Um, and I knew something was up because as soon as I started fishing today, I wasn't fishing more than 10 minutes, and I made this flip into this I don't know, this sawgrass or whatever you call it. And I flipped it in there, and then all the stems of the grass just went like this. So I knew, okay, something just attacked my bait. I didn't even feel the bite. Everything just shook like this. So I'm not really sure if he's got it or not. Maybe I just spooked something, because that happens too. Like if there's a carp hanging out there, maybe you spook them out of there. So I pull up. Yeah, there's a little pressure there, and I set the hook, and man, the battle was on with that thing, because it was like a 6 pounder as it turned out. Um, but I had to bring him through there, and then there was a bunch of spatterdock pads around that he was trying to get into those. Luckily, I steered him clear of that, and we got him into the net and in the boat. It was my biggest fish of the day. It was like a 5.5 to 6 pounder. Beautiful fish, and I was like, all right, great. I got my kicker. Now let's just fill out the limit with decent fish. So I ended up catching. Later, I caught another one that was probably like a 4.5 pounder, and maybe 4 3/4. It was a nice one. And then the other three all probably they're all pretty much close to the same size, and those other three probably together were probably about 9 pounds. So the two big ones were probably, I don't know, those were probably about 10 pounds of weight there, and then the other 9 pounds was the other three fish, I guess. Um, so yeah, maybe that probably wasn't a 6 pounder. It's probably like a 5.5 and a 4.5, which would make it 10 pounds, and then the other three were like three. I didn't weigh each fish separately, individually. It's just all guesstimates. But anyways, 18 pounds, 15 ounces was the total. 20th place. Uh, Thumbs up on that. So the baits today, and as soon as that, when I had that first fish do that, it just mauled my bait like that. I just know from past experience here, when they do that, that's the bites on the the big one. The females have hit the beds, and the lake really showed out that way too. People were all complaining and whining about how tough the fishing was. Well, it certainly didn't show it that way today, because guys really caught them really good today. A lot of 20-pound bags, and a lot of nice fish deep into the field. So it was a good day on Okeechobee, and tomorrow's not going to be any different. The warm weather's going to, and this is what happened. So there was kind of a cool down before we got here, and during practice it was still kind of cool and a lot of cloud cover. And I think the fish just got kind of funky and not really committed to the beds. But then the last day of practice started getting sunshiny. Then the off limits day was hard sunshine and heat, and that just the fish just came into the spawning areas hard. And I was kind of hoping that might happen, which is why, after my crappy practice, the option was on the table to just go to a completely new area. But no, I told myself, no, don't do that. Just go where you know there's some fish, because maybe some big ones will move in, because we are getting the heat wave, which will do that. Because I've seen it happen before, um, and I've heard winners of this tournament this time of year. I mean, more than one winner say, "Yeah, I just went to an area where I caught a lot of little ones, and all of a sudden there was big ones there." So that is that's what they do here. So unfortunately, some big fish moved in my area, um, but not a lot. I mean, I had them two big ones, and then had another one of my 3 pounders in my first area, and then the last 2 hours I went somewhere else and actually called 2 times. Um, I had like 2.5 pounders, and I 2 1/4, 2.5 pounders, and I called out both of those with 3 pounders. So the bait of choice today was kind of well, a Texas ray worm caught the two big ones. The first one right away. Although that first one right away, that thing what you could have I could have thrown this in there, these keys, and he would have hit that, or she would have hit that. So, but the two big ones came on a Texas rig worm, and let's see, another fish I weighed. The last fish I caught that I called with, that was on a frog of all things. I got into this area that had a few lily pads, and I'm like, well, I guess if you're ever going to throw a frog, this would be the place. And I made like 3 casts, and I caught that 3 pounder. And I just started. I mean, I had all this rest of these paths to fish. So now I'm licking my chops, but, I'd fish for another half hour, and then I had to go in. And that last half hour, I never had another bite. Not another bite on that frog. So, anyhow, what else did I caught? I caught one keeper on a chatterbait. That was another one of my 3 pounders. And then the other third 3 pounder, which was earlier in the day, was on a puncheon rig. So those were all my weigh fish. I caught other fish on the Texas rig worm. I caught 2 on the chatterbait today. One of them got called out. Frogfish, only the one. The Nico rig failed miserably. I don't know what the deal with that is. The Nico rig just no good. I think I caught one short, or I wouldn't say short, it was a keeper, but by that time I had a limit, and it didn't help me any. So yeah. So what's the game plan for tomorrow? Well, first of all, I was really surprised at how. I mean, I knew the bite was on, but I didn't know it'd be this on. Guys really plastered him today. So, and I kind of expect it to happen again tomorrow. I'm gonna have to find those big bites somehow. I'll probably go back to the area where I started. The only thing is, though, there was one other guy fishing this area, and he did not do that well. He had a limit, but a small limit. So I don't think there's a lot of big fish in that area. I just got lucky, and I got 2. So I don't know. I feel like I can get my limit out of there. Hopefully some new fish. I guess I'm hoping new ones move in, because that's what's going to have to happen. Otherwise, I'm not going to have a very big bag. So yeah, so I'll do some of that. I'll be throwing the chatterbait again some. The frog, I'll keep the frog on the deck. The puncheon rig, I'll keep that handy. Because I do got a pattern with this punch rig, but it's kind of it's a very isolated situation. Very, very, very isolated situation. I mean, you can punch until you're blue in the face and nothing, but when this little key setup comes into play, suddenly my chances of getting a bite is like way higher. In fact, I'd say whenever I run into this, probably about 1 out of 8 setups, if the setup is right, about 1 out of 8 times I'd get a bite out of that setup. So, but it's very rare. And I can explain what that is later after the tournament. So yeah. Oh boy, the ants have found my. Is that an ant? The worst thing is getting ants in this camper. That is the worst. I'm not sure if that was an ant or what, but the one thing I don't allow are ants in my camper. And if they get in here, it's war. It's game on. I am not merciful towards ants in my camper. A spider, yes. If it's a spider, I will take the spider, capture it alive, and remove it and release them into the wild. Ants, no. Although ants are super cool, though. In fact, I did a video on ants. I don't know, what was that, 2 years ago? Last year or 2 years ago? No, it would have been 2 years. It would have been the summer of 21. There was a crazy ant infestation on my property up north in Minnesota. It was my dad's property at the time. Now it's my sister's property and my property. But anyhow, ants are cool, but not in my camper. So we are tired. I've got my stuff rigged up. I've got to probably grab a couple more bags of worms, get those ready to go for tomorrow, and get some sleep. So thanks guys for watching, and hopefully tomorrow I can duplicate what I did today or even better. We'll see. I'm not that my optimism is not that high, just because the area that I fished, 2 good bites came out of that area and a 3-pounder, because that other guy didn't have. I should look and see where he finished, but at the time, I mean later in the day, like 2/3 of the way through the day, he told me he had like 9 or 10 pounds only, and at that time I had like 16 pounds. So because I had my 2 big ones, and then I had 3 that were like 2 1/4-ish, something like that. So anyhow, this video is gone on way too long probably as is, so this video is now over.